Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. I am farming some more T5 Abyss. The Gila has entered the chaotic T5 electrical environment in the Abyss and is about to kill some sleeper scrubs to get some more loot. And as we know, or as I've told you guys before, if you have watched my previous videos, you know that I'm trying to get a Nergal to be able to do burner missions, and I'm soon there. Actually, this will be the last site I do before I actually get that, or hopefully at least, unless there's some crazy change in prices or I somehow just lose all my money to some random weird scam of some sort. Otherwise, I am going to, next thing I'm going to purchase is the Nergal. I've run a ton of sites now. It's about time that I actually pulled the trigger on it. It'll be really interesting to see how that will be. I really hope it'll be really good, and I hope it'll be worth it, because I've never spent 1.2 bill on a frigate. That'll be an expensive frigate right there, but hopefully it'll be worth it. You can actually, from burners, you can earn over 200 million an hour, so I think it'll pay for itself pretty quickly, assuming I don't get ganked. That'll be very unfortunate right there. These sleepers right here, they're just these I really don't like these sleepers. It's one of those waves I just hate so much. There's so much meat to get through. The meaty sleepers, the sleeper cruisers, it takes a long time. There's not very big requirement on DPS, so it's not even a particularly exciting room, but it's just one of those rooms which are quite boring, because the tank requirements are very chill, so that's good, but at the same time I think it's a little bit interesting sometimes when you have a bit of spice to your abyssal runs, when you have extremely high DPS waves, like a wrecking shot from Crubius Tyrannus. But you know, you can always appreciate the safety of this. The point is just that I think these waves are kind of boring, because you just sit there and blast away, and they also take quite long. That's quite annoying part. These are one of the slower waves, I would say. Oh no, wait, what the heck, my drones are getting annihilated. No drones, come back! Please, mate. Look, he's got armor sparks. Yeah, that guy was in structure getting beat up real good. It's interesting how I've spent quite a bit of money actually on mission running ships, but I always come back to the Abyss. But I feel like perhaps if this burner Nergal works out to be good, I'll be spending a bit less time in the Abyss and more time in doing missions actually. I still think that I'll be doing Abyss all the time. I think this will be one of the central activities. I find this to be one of the best, more varied activities, because missions, they are all the same. That's a good thing when it comes to running them, because they're always very predictable. But I like the Abyss because it's slightly unpredictable. It's still all very similar. Like, you know that this is the sleeper wave, you know what it's going to be, but there's always some kind of variance to it, and I like that. You don't have that in the missions, unfortunately. Like, especially the background, the appearance. There's always a bit of a different scenery. Like this scenery right here, if you look in the background, it looks almost a bit purplish actually. I think a bit more like a dark blue purplish. It feels almost like we're in the gamma sites right now. What I mean is, it feels a lot more varied than the missions. They all are the same, but the really nice thing is, missions, they're always like very or relatively relaxing compared to the Abyss. You don't have to worry about any. They usually, you're under control. You have to worry about big wrecking shots from some Crubius Tyrannus, some angry Crubius Tyrannus. You have a pretty consistent way of doing them. However, I don't know how it'll be with burners, because I know that burners are pretty difficult. However, I know that if you are good at running them, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And I think it'll be a new thing, because there'll be a lot of new things to learn. I've never done a burner mission before, so it'll be like completely new missions to do. I've been doing these standard L4 missions for a long time actually, since I think it was March 2018. That's when I actually first got enough standings to do the L4 mission, so it's a very long time ago actually, and I've really acquainted myself with a lot of the missions. The burners will then be a completely new thing, and there'll be a lot of new stuff to learn, but it'll probably go pretty well. I know that Hateless Gaming, a YouTuber who focuses a lot on the burner missions, he triple boxes a burner mission, so it seems like it's not too hard that he's able to multi-box them. So if I'm just single boxing them, I don't think that'll be too much of an issue right there. Oh, I forgot to go to the extraction node. Don't want to forget the extraction nodes. Could always have some good loot in there. Sometimes you can get like 10-12 million in one of them. That's pretty good actually. I remember that when I used to do nullsec ratting for the first time, 12 million would be one of my ticks. And here I just get it from one of these tiny little loot caches right here. That's so cool. It just really gives you a bit of a perspective of how you progress into the game. But I think the burners will be pretty fun. It'll be a nice variation, you know. I always keep talking about change of paces, and I like doing L4 missions as an alternative to the Abyss because they're pretty relaxing, but they don't pay at all as good as this T5 Abyss right here. They don't even pay even as good as the T4 Abyss, let alone the T5 Abyss. But it'll be cool to have actually some kind of new activity that pays similar level to the T5 Abyss. I think the burner missions will give a bit less than T5 Abyss, but it'll be more than the T4 Abyss, and it'll just be different. And I think that'll be really fun. Actually, I really like the idea of having multiple ways to essentially complete the same thing. So, you know, Vedmak wave. Okay. There's a lot of newts on grid. Just have to be a bit wary of that. That will be something quite interesting when I am able to actually earn a decent income, because I never, from doing something apart from Abyss, because I never really do missioning for serious income. I mean, I do get good income for it, but if I really, like, you know how, like, I'm now farming to be able to get this, the Nergal, I wouldn't do missions for that. It'll just take too long. I'll be sleeping of boredom from that. The T5 Abyss, on the other hand, it doesn't take me that long. It'll only take a few hours of grinding. Like, I don't have a whole lot of free time, so it has taken me a few days to be able to get this, but it's a lot more manageable than doing your standard L4 missions. It'll take me way too long. Even the blitzing of the missions in my Barghest is pretty effective at blitzing missions very fast. Paladin also pretty good at getting the modules, like the full clear style, and actually the modules have gone up a lot in price, I've noticed, since those resource redistribution changes. All the resources have been worth them a lot more, so apparently you can actually, this is what I've heard, I've not actually tried doing this myself, but I've heard that you can earn a lot of profit from reprocessing modules, because then you'll get minerals, and it seems like minerals are quite sought after due to those new mining changes. That'll be a pretty interesting thing, because you're essentially like mining if you do that, because you're just killing the NPCs and then you get the modules from them, and then you just take the modules and reprocess them into minerals. So you're essentially like sort of like mining, but just in a different way, by stealing the modules of these dead NPCs. It's a bit sad that I can't do that in the Abyss right here with all these Triglavians, because you know how a Entropic Disintegrator goes for like 100+ mil? Imagine you could just pick up them from these guys right here. That'd be so cool. But then obviously the price of Entropic Disintegrators would just go down through the roof. This is one of the nice things of the MWD. You see here, I'm easily able to kite these guys. The Afterburner is good because when it comes to the battleship waves, you're actually able to mitigate quite a bit of damage, mitigate risk of wrecking shots, in general mitigate damage a bit easier because of how, you know, your signature radius is a lot smaller, so then you're able to mitigate damage that way. But when it comes to the MWD, you've got massive signature radius, so it's going to enhance the ability of any battleships to be able to hit you. But it's still quite useful for two things: is that you can go in orbit. I've mentioned this before, that it's quite easy to get in orbit then on the battleship because you're going so fast. And also, when it comes to these Triglavians, the Vedmaks are actually a pretty big problem when it comes to the Abyss, like when it comes to DPS, because the Vedmaks have one of the highest, potentially, not absolutely, but potentially one of the highest DPS waves you can actually get, just due to their ramp up thing. So if I had an Afterburner, especially if there were a lot of tanglings, but did he get 15 million just for that one thing? Right, that was pretty good. If I had an Afterburner, I would very easily be able to be caught up by these Vedmaks, because you see here they go 1.6k a second. If I go with an Afterburner Gila, I go up at, I think, 600 meters a second. Not particularly fast. These guys will keep up very quickly, and they will spool up pretty quickly. Now that will kind of put a bit more requirements on my tank, and I can face tank them, so that doesn't matter, because I'm going all out on my Gila. I'm pimped it quite a bit, so even if I just sit there at 0 on them, I'll still be able to kill them before they can ramp up to significant levels to be able to kill me. But the point is, with my MWD, I'm able to just completely kite their range. You see here, they've got like the 25-kilometer range. So I'm taking just 0 damage from those Vedmaks. You saw that when I was cruising around to those extraction nodes. That was really nice. I know a lot of people don't like to use the Afterburner also for capacitor requirements. That's one really nice thing about the Afterburner, that you can actually you have a lot more room when it comes to fitting, and just in general fitting the good capacitor on your ship, because the MWDs really hit your capacitor hard. That's another benefit of the Afterburner, but I prefer the MWD. I feel a lot more nimble with it on. Hey, the Leshak wave. This is one of the easiest waves you can ever get. One of the things I hate with the Leshak waves is that they're just so annoying with their blinding ones. where they do the sensor dampeners, and then they just okay. Let's just get in range and use our missiles. We're gonna kill these guys so quickly. So there's just 2 starving. We're gonna go for the starving guys. Go through the starving guys soon. There's the starving one over there. Let's go for this now. Okay, secondary drone there. Missiles on this guy. The reason that I feel a little bit nervous doing this is because the starving Leshaks newt a lot. So we're going pretty close, but there was only 2, so that's why I just decided to go in. Otherwise, usually if there's a lot of starving Leshaks, I would actually pull range. These guys go pretty damn quickly to kill. You can see that there's already a few of them left. But what I was saying was that the blinding ones, there's luckily no blinding ones now, but they sensor dampen you, and they make you so that your targeting range is really short, and you can't specifically hit the enemy Leshaks. You have to rely on drone auto aggression, and that's really annoying because you can't specifically tell the drone to go for those blinding ones that are sensor dampening you, or go for those starving ones that have a high risk of neuting you out. You know, you're gonna just have to rely on whatever the drone feels like it's going to want to go to, whichever Leshak hit first. But luckily there's no of those blinding ones here. They are really annoying in the Dreadnought rooms or those T5 special rooms. Those guys in those rooms, they really make it so much easier if no blinding ones existed. If no blinding ones existed in those, there's a bit of a randomization when it comes to the Leshaks in the T5 special rooms, and sometimes they can be no blinding ones, and then I'm really happy because it is just such a walk in the park. All I do is just throw my drones on the starvings, maybe even then the renewings, just because without the starvings there's no real risk at all of getting neutered out, so we're pretty safe in that regard. Renewings, then there's very little remote reps, and then the rest just go down really quickly. But when there's the blinding ones, you can't focus on that, and then what's going to happen is that probably the drones will not go on the starvings, so there'll be a high risk of newts, so you cannot come anywhere remotely close to the NPCs, because there's a high risk of getting newt. Those newts are so strong on the starving Leshaks. And then also, you'll probably your drones will probably not be shooting on the renewings as well. And this will make so that they remote rep the others so fast so that it'll take a lot longer to get through the other NPCs as well. So all in all, those blinding cause so much havoc. And I mean, the starving ones are pretty dangerous. The renewing ones are also pretty dangerous because of how much remote repairing they can do. But in my opinion, the damn blindings, those are the most dangerous ones out of all the Leshaks, actually. Not the starvings. Even though the starvings are very potent when it comes to their newts, it will feel very scary, but it's very easy to kill them. You just kill the starvings first, that's all it is. But if you can't kill them, then you've got big problems. They'll be very, very deadly right there. I was listening at what kind of loot I was looking at. So we've got 67. Okay, what is it? 63. What if we get the dank loot drop? You know, there could be a skill book, Mutaplasmid, that's worth 200 million there. There's always that potential. When I'm opening these bioadaptive caches, it feels like, like the lottery sort of thing, right? You got, there's always a chance that you can get something really good. I wish it could just sometimes be good, but almost always it's just like a bit of an average thing. Very rarely I capture these kind of things on camera. It's just unfortunate right there. And 38 mil from that one side. That's still pretty good. I mean, it's not like what I was talking about, like a lottery kind of style where you get hundreds of millions, but 38 mil is still really decent right there. I've seen 102 million, and we did this in 14 minutes. I think that is some dankisk. Alright, next step is the Nergal for burner missions. I'll see when I get around to buying that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this little T5 room here, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.